Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the current conditions as always, getting into the upcoming pattern, and really just deep diving into some of the upcoming severe weather. Let's get straight into things first, and really just taking a look here at our current radar imagery. There is actually some storminess up here in the northwest, not a huge surprise there, but there is some snowfall here for Washington, even into Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming in there, so there's quite a bit of that taking place. We do have some stormy activity down there for Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, and Arkansas that's worth noting. And then we have some showery activity going on in the northeastern corner here of the country. So that is what is currently taking place. Let's just go ahead and zoom in here real quickly to the northwestern United States. We have these showers ongoing, snowfall and rainfall. Obviously, whites are going to be your snowfall, and then your greens are going to be your rainfall there. We can see that as we head a little bit further eastward, there's some heavier activity going on, mostly in the form of rainfall. But here for Wyoming and Montana, we do have some snowfall there, but there's some heavier showers ongoing there for South Dakota and North Dakota. We see pockets of that going on for certain spots. So keep that in mind as well. Most of this is lighter, but there is some heavier pockets. There's even some isolated showers and potential thunderstorms taking place here for some of these regions in here. So that's definitely looking pretty interesting. And then down here, we have this area here of pretty intense thunderstorms here, especially there for Oklahoma, Kansas, and through Missouri. But it looks like some of those are making their way into Arkansas and even Texas as well. Look at the rotation here. This is super interesting. Look at the rotation in this storm. I mean, it looks like a mini hurricane. It's crazy. Very, very intense, and right outside of that is where we've had these severe thunderstorm warnings taking place as well. So there is pretty intense thunderstorms taking place for those regions. And as we make our way down here to kind of Virginia and North Carolina here, there has been some severe weather activity ongoing overnight in there, especially for, again, Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina there. Especially on that North Carolina side is where we've seen these severe thunderstorms come through. There's actually more of that expected for these areas throughout the day today. So we'll take a look at that a little bit later on the Storm Prediction Center. We also have this huge pocket of showers, and this has really moved offshore actually. So we are drying up for these regions. But there is these showers that are going to have to move off this morning. There's this pocket of showers that's still going to head over northern New England, so keep that in mind as well. But overall, that is the current conditions. There's not too much crazy activity ongoing at this point, mostly just some pockets of showers. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at that upcoming pattern. We're going to really break down the severe weather, the temperature pattern, all of it, and just break it down in general. So here is that upcoming pattern. Let me just get it to where it's this morning, and we do see this activity up here, and everything in between here. As we move this on, we see what generally happens throughout the day today is we get a big time trough in the west and a huge ridge in the east. So we start getting this very hot pattern out here. And I mean very hot. It's going to be 90s, I think, 4 days in a row here in Virginia. So some of you might be experiencing some pretty similar conditions. I mean, borderline an actual heat wave here for late May, which is a little bit early for that to be taking place. Pretty crazy stuff. Really interesting in my opinion. We do see this storminess up here happening, and this is as we reach tomorrow. There's those thunderstorms, potential thunderstorms taking place in there tonight at about 8 p.m. This is Friday. This is about Friday at about 11 p.m., and we see this cold front building in through here. So very warm still out ahead of it in this region, but this cold is really bottled up, and it's heading very quickly to the east, so keep that in mind as well. And obviously, when these two air masses meet, it is very intense. So that is why we're seeing this pocket of pretty intense storminess here in between. That is exactly why that's happening. That's Saturday. Let's reach towards Sunday. We see a lot of this storminess in here. Jet streams doing about like this. So a bit of a trough here now for the central United States. Things should be warming here for the west as well. But obviously, very, very warm here for the east still by Sunday. Monday, we see a lot of storminess here for the southeast, the south central, and even in through the plains, obviously. That is the look here. I feel like I keep saying obviously, so I apologize about that. I don't know why I keep saying that. Tuesday, plenty of storminess here for very, very similar regions here, southeast in through the plains, and yeah, just a lot of different regions seeing these types of conditions Wednesday, we see these stormy conditions continuing on. Still probably pretty warm here for the eastern United States, considering it's very stormy. So let's see. Starting around Sunday, the storms will be possible. Monday, continue. Wednesday, Thursday, cold front comes through. Kind of dries up for Friday, Saturday, so maybe the weekend will be a little bit nicer. But generally, by this point, the warmest conditions are actually going to be over the central United States, it looks like, to me. A little bit less warm here for the east, but still pretty warm, and then cold there potentially for the west. That is the look here on the upcoming pattern. Now, for the total precipitation, it's probably going to be a lot because we saw a lot of storminess here over the next 10 days. Yeah, that's pretty intense. This is, again, the next 10 days. So if you're anywhere in the white, you're expecting basically nothing. The grays are going to be about 0.1 or less inches of precipitation. Your greens are going to be 0.1 to 0.5 inches of precipitation. Your blues are going to be 0.5 to an inch of precipitation. Yellows will be an inch to 2 inches. Reds will be 2 to 5 inches. Browns will be 5 to 10 inches. And I don't see any blues, so that's where we kind of max out here. But plenty of precipitation there in the eastern United States, as you can see. The entire eastern half, almost all of it, is at least in the yellows and reds. So plenty of precipitation expected here. Probably averaging at least a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch per day for those red regions, which is pretty crazy for a 10-day period, if you think about it. Now, here is our total snowfall, and this is lessening again. So this is going to be lessening every day, probably, until we reach where there's nothing. In the grays, we expect about a dusting, if anything. Blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples will be 6 to 10. Pinks will be 10 to 20. And then your pastels will be 20 inches plus. So not much to say there. Mostly just the Rockies here and then the Cascade Mountains. What we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern. So here is that temperature pattern. As you can see, we've had colder air here for the northern United States, but we're going to see this really shift here by this afternoon. Look at how much warmth builds its way into here, and especially into the central United States as well. And this cold is rapidly digging into the west. So we're seeing this dig down like this, and then we're seeing this air mass build in to the east. So likely what this is encouraging is a jet stream pattern that moves around these circles just about like that. Let's move this towards Friday, and you can see things get even more intense. Jet streams probably about like this. Huge trough for the west. Things are really rapidly cooling down here for the plains and the west, but the warmth in the east is just really rapidly building in. I think 97 is the forecast here in Virginia for Saturday, potentially 95 on Friday. So very, very warm. Not even just 90s, but mid to upper 90s at times. I mean, very, very hot. Considering especially it's just been 60s recently, it's gonna feel very, very intense. It's not like going from 80s to 90s. You're jumping like 40 degrees here. So it's gonna feel pretty hot to a lot of folks probably based on the weird temperature pattern we've had. Saturday might be the warmest day, like we've mentioned. Up here, these temperatures are going to be very hot, okay? So this is where we're about 20 to 30 degrees above normal for a lot of these regions. Even there in Massachusetts where it gets kind of pinkish, that's where we're about 30 degrees above normal. So absolutely wild stuff there. And then again, this cold air is really building into this region, and it is heading eastward. So this cold front is going to affect everybody at certain points. Sunday, we can see that cold front is rapidly encroaching on these regions. We still see very hot temperatures for the East Coast on Sunday, though. And then for Monday, it's hanging on here for the East Coast, but it is rapidly coming to an end. And by the time we reach Tuesday, I don't know what just happened. Tuesday, there, we see that a lot of the cold air does make its way into the eastern United States. Most of the warmth here is in the southwest. Let's head towards Wednesday. Still see some of this cold air. It's not quite as intense as it was, but it is there. And we see this warmth building in, so we're seeing a bit like this. Let's see. Friday, this warmth is still building in for here. We do see neutral temperatures for the east and then cold here for the southwest. That is the look by Friday the 27th. Sunday the 28th, things are warming back up for the East Coast, so we're seeing warm temperatures for all of these regions. Mostly just cold for the northwest, like I mentioned. And that's kind of where we end things. We kind of end off with a warm note here, which is interesting. So overall, the rest of the month of May is looking quite warm, to say the least. I mean, very, very warm actually, in fact. So what we're going to do here, stay tuned with us, by the way, daily. We'll update you guys on this as things progress and change. But what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at that storm prediction center. All right, now here's the day one categorical outlook. We have 4 general thunderstorm risks there in the lighter greens. That's where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so keep that in mind. Heed every watch, warning, and advisory as always. The 2 darker green regions is our 2 marginal risk areas where we expect isolated severe weather to take place. The 2 yellow regions is our slight risk regions, and that's where we expect scattered severe weather to take place. And then our 1 orange region there in Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin is our enhanced risk region, and that's where we expect more widespread severe weather to be possible here today on day 1. Now for the individual outlooks here, day 1 wind outlook. This is all based on 25 miles of a given location. Keep that in mind, but we expect a 5% chance of damaging wind taking place there within the 2 green regions, a 15% chance of damaging wind taking place there within the 2 yellow regions, and then a 30% chance of damaging wind taking place there within the red. For the hail outlook, it's the same exact thing, 5% in the greens, 15% in the yellows, and then 30% chance there in the red. But we do have that significant hatched region up there for Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and that is for 2-inch diameter or larger hail. So the Storm Prediction Center is indicating very, very large hail is going to be possible throughout the day today. For tomorrow, or better yet, tornado outlook first. We have 2% chances there in the green areas, 2 5% chance areas in the brown regions there, and then a 10% chance of tornadoes there in the yellow region there for Iowa and Minnesota. And unfortunately, this is hatched as well, as you can see within the yellow, indicating EF2 or stronger tornadoes are going to be possible today. Very, very bad news there. For day 2 now, finally, we have 3 general thunderstorm risks there for Friday, May 20th. That's going to be, again, where we expect general thunderstorms, but here every watch, warning, and advisory. The darker green region is, again, our marginal risk, and that's where we expect isolated severe weather to take place. And then the 2 yellow regions there is our slight risk areas where we expect scattered severe weather. For the damaging wind, we have a 5% chance there within the green, and then 2 15% chance areas there within the 2 yellow regions. For hail, again, 5% in the green, 2 15% chance areas again in the yellows. And then for tornadoes, we have a 2% chance there for Michigan. And then last but not least, for day 3, here is the categorical outlook. We have 2 general thunderstorm risks there, 1 there for the Northwest, and then 1 there for all of the eastern United States. And that's, again, where we expect general thunderstorms. There's a very large marginal risk there from Texas all the way up through Maine, though. And that's where we expect isolated severe weather to take place, potentially there in that darker green region. Anyway, for today's patron highlighted today, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially, for our confidence tab. I don't know why I got mixed up there. We are at a 4 out of 6. There's a lot going on. I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of which we talked about is in the longer range, so we're at a 4 out of 6. Now, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I'd also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Colley, Noah Hollyman, Alessa Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Calisi also. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.